Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. You've been here with us from the hour 7 up until 9 for the big conversation. And I hope you've been having a good day so far. By now, a number of you will be settled in your offices and watching, wherever you're listening or watching us from. It's important that you know that this conversation is an important one that we all need to know. I am Martha Alu, but you can call me Martha.
And of course, I am Victor Arke. Welcome to the big conversation.
Welcome. Now, the Nigerian oil sector is back in the headlines, and this time it's about a major fraud scandal rocking the downstream sector and a sudden halt in fuel supply to certain independent marketers. The Dangote Refinery has reportedly suspended product sales to rogue marketers, exposing deeper cracks in how oil and gas products are distributed across the country.
That's right.
Now, today we ask, who's really controlling Nigerians' oil market? The regulators or the cartels? And what does this latest scandal mean for ordinary Nigerians who just want to buy fuel without breaking the bank? Again, good morning and welcome to the show. This conversation is not one that we will be having just alone. We have a guest who will be joining us in the studio. And from this conversation, like I said, it's time. This time it's not just about subsidy removal or pump price adjustment. It's about a major fraud scandal shaking the very core of our downstream operations. Now, according to reports, Dangote Refinery, Africa's largest Nigeria's new hope for fuel independence, has suspended product sales to certain independent marketers over suspicions of sharp practices and racketeering.
Right.
Now, this move has exposed deeper cracks in how oil and gas products are distributed across the country. Once again, we are forced to ask who really controls the market. And to join us on the show today, I'll leave Victor to do all of the introduction.
To join us on the show today is Afolabi Davidson. He is the chairman, Oil and Gas Trainers Association, Lagos State Chapter. Good morning to you, sir, and welcome to the conversation. Hello, Mr. Davidson. Good morning, sir.
Yes, good morning, Victor, and good morning, Martha. Thank you for having me. Let me just make a quick correction. I'm not the chairman of the Lagos Zone. I was, and in just a few months ago, I was still the national vice president of Oil and Gas Trainers Association of Nigeria.
Oh, wow.
But the administration has changed.
Can you hear him clearly?
Yes, I can actually. Are you having fluctuations?
Yes, I'm having cracks with how I can hear.
Okay.
Yes, I can barely hear you clearly. But let's keep up with the conversation.
Oh, okay. All right, sir. So you all right? So
Okay.
let's just dive straight to the conversation this morning, talking about Dangote suspending their sales due to the fraudulent activity that they also found that in their system, right? According to them, they claimed that they were licensed marketers were reselling allocations, essentially sabotaging the pricing system and also creating artificial scarcity. Now, in plain terms, sir, how dangerous is this kind of sabotage for a country still recovering from fuel subsidy removal?
Well, I hope you can hear me clearly. I think part of the problem is that we have a cartel who operates in the downstream sector of the oil and gas industry.
Hello, sir. Mr. Davidson, sir.
Hello, sir.
We're so sorry. We might have to go on a very short break to sort this out. We can barely hear you. There are cracks in the system so that we can have a very clear conversation.
Okay, all right.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, let's head out on a very short break to sort this out, and when we get back, we'll get right into the conversation.
That's right.
Nigeria's economy, the global market, what does it all mean for you? From stock market insights to global financial news you need to know. From Wall Street to the main street and, of course, the marketplace.
Get the answers you need every week on Business Lens with me, Faith Dafa Joseph, as I bring into focus the stories, strategies, and shifts shaping our economy. No angle is missed as I talk about the business, the people, patterns, and possibilities behind them. Welcome to the Business Lens.
Rapid TV, rooted in truth, driven by impact.
Meet the men and women shaping the future of Nigeria. Get to know your representatives at the National Assembly. From lawmaking to constituency projects, we'll take you behind the scenes and inside the chambers of the Nigerian National Assembly. Learn about the bills they are championing, the challenges they are facing, and the impacts they are making in their constituencies. We'll also bring you closer to the people they are serving and the stories that shape their work. Join us on NAS Watch every Friday on Rapid Television at 7 p.m. So get informed, get engaged, and get to know the leaders shaping Nigeria's future.
This is the Almighty, and I'm here at the Masterminds Maiden Edition and our audition today. This is the platform where we give young mind kids from the ages of 7 to 17 the platform to express their feelings and to showcase their talent.
My name is Uzo Emanuela
Sadiq Labron Abu,
Jessica Prince. My name is Hollywood
Sarah Angela Achalaga. My name is Golden Aisha.
Precious Odumu. I'm Tarila. I am Paris Aban.
Just not Julie.
Let's go.
It was amazing.
It was splendid.
Mastermind.
All right, welcome back and thanks for staying with us. Sorry about that glitch and that break there. But again, let's say that today on the program, we will be unpacking these issues with key players in the industry. We'll talk about the fraud allegations, the halt in supply, the future of independent marketers, and the larger questions of whether our oil sector is truly being reformed or if we are just watching new players enter the same old game. It's about fuel, it's about power, but ultimately it's about the people. So stay with us as the conversation starts. We are having Mr. Afolabi Davidson on the show, and because of network glitches, largely because of the vandals that we spoke about this morning.
Very true.
You see the ripple effect of vandalism.
You know,
we can't have a proper conversation, a smooth session because of the glitch in the network supply. And honestly, throughout yesterday, I noticed that it's been quite a struggle. It's been a struggle trying to connect with people, especially certain network providers. So when we talk about a problem, right, it's very unreasonable to say it doesn't concern me.
It affects
because
all of us.
Obviously, the ripple effect of that problem will literally touch everybody. That's the long and short of the matter. But yes, I don't know if we have Mr. Davidson on the line yet, so that we can keep up with the conversation. Hello, Mr. Davidson.
Yes, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. We might just have to.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but we still hear those cracks. But we can just try to have the conversation as long as it is clear outside to everyone who's listening or who's watching us. But thank you so much, Mr. Davidson, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
All right, let's move right to the conversation because I like to define terms before we keep up a conversation so that people clearly understand what we're talking about. So what exactly is the nature of this oil fraud that has been exposed? Can you break it down for the average Nigerian who is watching us and who wants to understand how this affects their daily life and their daily fuel prices?
Well, so from the little that I understand about what's going on, there's a lot of diversion going on, and like you said in your introduction, there are structural changes going on in the market. So when you have those kind of changes going on in the market, you would always see all of these different challenges, different actors some new players trying to come in, some of the existing players are trying to put a stake on the ground to hold on to their territory. So those are the issues that are going on. And Dangote is trying to disrupt the market in terms of the transportation and distribution of fuel. So there are stakeholders who are protesting and do not want that, but eventually it's the Nigerian consumers who are paying for the high price at the pump that are suffering. So there needs to be some kind of an intervention by the federal government to ensure that consumers do not continue to suffer and that we're able to get access to this fuel at a reasonable price.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that one. Now, the suspension of product supply by the Dangote Refinery to certain marketers, right? Was this necessary? Was this a necessary move to sanitize the sector of what is already going there? Or does this risk creating an artificial scarcity? Because we have suffered fuel scarcity a number of times, and we know what it is like here in Nigeria when we have such experiences. So do you think that this would be a ripple effect of the clampdown on supply of such to some marketers?
Of course, there would always be a ripple effect, and consumers will always feel the impact. But from the perspective of Dangote, he's trying to ensure that the consumers will continue to get this product at the right price. You would note that recently we got the news that Dangote has now imported or maybe bought 4,000 trucks that drive on CNG, fuel, to ensure distribution of its product. Now, that in itself is in alignment with the federal government strategy to ensure that we decarbonize the sector, which is a good thing. But there are people who already own trucks, many trucks, as many as 3,000 or more, who are already in this business and distributing fuel. I think there should be some kind of an alignment between Dangote and these people and see if they can own the trucks or have some kind of a partnership. You can't expect those people to go quietly. That's their livelihood, and they need to be guaranteed that they will not lose their livelihood. They will do everything they can to try and frustrate, but then those are the kind of issues that's going on because of the structural changes that's going on in the downstream sector. I like the idea of Dangote's 4,000 trucks that are fueled by CNG, but again, we need to ensure that the people who are already in the business, who are not really big players, they are ordinary Nigerians who own trucks that are doing business, and this is their livelihood. We need to find some kind of a way to actually bring them in as well so they don't lose their livelihood.
Okay.
Let's talk about the system that you've been talking about, especially the ATC system, which is the authority to collect permits. And according to Dangote, these ATC permits were supposedly issued only to vetted marketers, right? Now, the question is, how does a regulated product go from refinery gate to illegal resellers? Because we're looking at the system as well, too.
So my take is this: there is no amount of regulation in the like you said, the ATC system that can totally eradicate the sort of challenges that you mentioned, where there are diversions, because you can't monitor the transportation of the fuel from end to end. There are people who are in that business, and what they want to do is maximize profit. So, and because the sector is already deregulated anyway, so the fuel goes to the person who is able to pay the highest price. The highest bidder would get the product. We can't really do anything about that. So until we get to a point where there is major competition from different angles, then we will not be able to actually manage that situation. There will still be some malactors in that business who would always do whatever they can to actually get maximum profit.
Thank you so much for that answer. Now let's move on to the very next. You made mention of the fact that Dangote Refinery buying this 4,000 trucks is taking the livelihood of some of the people who are already in business. But the reason, the fact that he came about those 4,000 trucks is because of the inefficiency of some of these independent marketers. Because we have seen them many times say, oh, we're not going to transport this fuel because the cost of getting it here is exorbitant. The federal government is owing us, so we cannot continue to transport the fuel because we need to get the amount of money that is being owed us by the government. So you see, some of these inadequacies from their end is the reason that Dangote Refinery has come about buying these 4,000 trucks to help the system and to completely eradicate the scarcity. Last year alone, we experienced over 3 scarcities where the queues mopped up and it was difficult for people to get about their business. Now, do you think that regardless of the fact that these people have inadequacies, they should be factored in? Because you made mention of the fact that Dangote Refinery should liaise with them. Can you liaise with someone who has proven incompetence, even when you know that you on your own can sort the problem?
Well, so again, I'm in total support of what Dangote is doing. But then at the same time, you always have to consider, in the long run, what's good for the consumers. Now, the scarcities that you mentioned that happened last year happened under a different structure. Then we still had NNPC had pretty much the dominant player in the sector in terms of the supply of petrol to consumers. But now that Dangote is there, and NNPC is still supplying, you also have some other people who are still importing these products. So there are multiple players. I would expect that Dangote would try to engage the truck owners because they are a powerful group. It's like trying to break the back of a union. They will do whatever they can to actually disrupt whatever it is that you're trying to do. They are a union, and we've seen what they can do before, where when they go on strike, it's the consumers that actually pay the price. But this is a good development. There needs to be a sit down between all of the stakeholders in the group to see how each stakeholder's issues, each stakeholder's concerns can be addressed. We can't just discard them. Yes, Dangote has the power and the ability to actually break that union. The consumers will eventually benefit, but we need to ensure that we consider their concerns as well, and give them an opportunity to earn a living. There should be some other way. I think the federal government needs to step in here. There should be some kind of way to actually bring them on board to ensure that they continue to earn a living with their business. Don't forget, they have also invested in buying trucks, the trucks that they own. It's an investment. and what can they do? What other business can they transition to? So those are some of the issues that need to be addressed. There are a large group of people, and we can't really just, discountenance their issues and concerns.
You mentioned NNPC, of course, talking about them being major players, even as at last year. But very recently, Aliko Dangote also made a statement. He said that the NNPC refineries might never work again. What do you make of that statement as well?
I think Dangote is correct. The NNPC refineries, we've been on this issue for many years. The Petrol refinery was established in 1965. Then the second one in Port Harcourt was established in 1989, I believe. And Nigeria has spent over 18 billion US dollars since 2007 to rehabilitate these refineries. It's not working. There comes a time when you have to cut your losses and say, look, let's just get rid of this thing. And that's where they have got to now, realizing that this will continue to put good money into a bad business or a bad situation. We cannot continue like that. I'm happy that they have come to that conclusion themselves to say, okay, let's cut our losses and move on. That amount of money, $18 billion, can be put to better use for the sake of Nigerians. And remember, Dangote had actually offered to buy, in fact, actually bought these refineries for $750 million during Yar'Adua's administration. Actually, it was before Yar'Adua, but Yar'Adua came in and reversed the sale. But since that time, NNPC claimed that they can actually operate the refineries, but we haven't seen anything since that time. The success that the former group CEO of NNPC, Mele Kyari, did was a charade, trying to say that the refineries are now producing. We're now finding out the truth that they really are not, because they again have been put, they've stopped production to continue to do the turnaround maintenance that they've been doing for years. We spent too much money. If this was a business that's owned by an individual and you spend so much money and you're still not getting your returns on your money, you would make a decision to cut your losses and move on. That's what we should do.
You have made mention of this fact that we should cut our losses. The refineries might never work because of the rot that we see in the system. Billions of naira have been allocated to rehabilitating these refineries. Regardless of that, they still are not functional. I'm particular about the marketers, the independent marketers and the distributors, because they're distributors as well. They are the chain between, the refineries and the consumers. And so the inefficiency of these people puts the consumers at risk again for scarcity. Now, haven't mentioned that these refineries should be sold if they are not working out. And Dangote is proposing these marketers should be thrown out under the bus if they are not going to function in accordance. Now, some critics say that the deregulation of this oil sector without proper oversight has turned marketers into profit-maximizing machines with little regard for ethics, which is the cause of the inefficiency. If people disregard the ethics of a profession, they most likely will practice it however they want to, not minding how it affects the people that they are called to serve. What is your take on this accusation? Is this a fair accusation, or is this just made out of emotional experience with scarcity and all of that within the oil sector?
I like what you said about the inefficiencies in a market that regulators actually need to be more careful. When you deregulate, a sector, you need to ensure that all of the stakeholders play their part and do it with some level of integrity. You can't totally eliminate it. And we can take examples from the telecom sector. We can take examples from the power sector. Now, the telecom sector has served us well. Now, it's not perfect, but Nigerians have benefited a great deal from the deregulation that happened in the telecom sector. Look at the power sector. There's been some level of deregulation in the power sector. Today, we're still complaining. There are still inefficiencies in the power sector. But the deregulation is ongoing. The government is trying to see what can be done to actually show up all of the gaps that they've now seen. Remember, they went on this strategy of deregulation. There was a study that talked about, okay, this is the best way to do this. Everything doesn't always go as planned. So you continue to tweak it until you get, the best solution. The downstream sector is going through those same kind of challenges, and the government cannot be totally hands off. They need to continue to monitor to ensure that, for the benefit of all Nigerians, that we get, the best out of this deregulation. Dangote is doing his best. He's, I give him a whole lot of credit for what he has done. And I'd like to mention here, if you look at the amount of money that I spoke about earlier, a little bit over $18 billion has been spent since 2007 trying to renovate refineries that have not worked. Dangote built a 650,000 barrel per day refinery, single train refinery, for $20 billion. That $18 billion could have gone into building one refinery that would do better than all of the four that we have that cannot even refine. They don't have the same capacity as the Dangote refinery. So that goes to tell you that, we're doing something that we really shouldn't be doing. $18 billion is a lot of money.
Thank you so much, Mr. Davidson, for your time here with us. But please just stay seated. Let's go for a very quick break, and we'll come back. We'll delve deeper into the conversation. Please stay with us.
Nigeria's economy, the global market, what does it all mean for you? From stock market insights to global financial news you need to know. From Wall Street to the main street and, of course, the marketplace.
Get the answers you need every week on Business Lens with me, Faith Dafa Joseph, as I bring into focus the stories, strategies, and shifts shaping our economy. No angle is missed as I talk about the business, the people, patterns, and possibilities behind them. Welcome to the Business Lens.
Rapid TV, rooted in truth, driven by impact.
Meet the men and women shaping the future of Nigeria. Get to know your representatives at the National Assembly. From lawmaking to constituency projects, we'll take you behind the scenes and inside the chambers of the Nigerian National Assembly. Learn about the bills they are championing, the challenges they are facing, and the impacts they are making in their constituencies. We'll also bring you closer to the people they are serving and the stories that shape their work. Join us on NAS Watch every Friday on Rapid Television at 7 p.m. So get informed, get engaged, and get to know the leaders shaping Nigeria's future.
Hello viewers at home, this is the Almighty, and I'm here at the Masterminds Maiden Edition and our audition today. This is the platform where we give young mind kids from the ages of 7 to 17 the platform.
With us. We have been hanging out with Mr. David Singh Afolabi, and he's the chairman.
Basically an oil and gas expert, right?
Yeah, and we have been hanging out with him. I'm talking about some of the fraud. I mean, the fraud that has been exposed in the oil and gas sector. It's not in Dangote's refinery. Dangote is literally trying to solve the problem. And you know, some of these marketers are not finding it funny. But like I said, ethics is very important to me. Competence is very important, and it should be important to the Nigerian system as well. Because if you are not performing, you are not performing.
Not at all.
And if it takes replacing you to have it work, then it just might be the answer to the question. You know. Thank you so much, Mr. Davidson, for joining us on the show. Are you still here?
Yes, I am.
What immediate step is the Oil and Gas Marketers Association taking to ensure transparency, fair pricing? Because these are the issues that are about to throw them under the bus. So what steps are they taking, or do you think they should take, I mean, to ensure transparency, fair pricing, and prevent another round of racketeering in the sector?
That's a very good question. I think what the marketers can do, because they are an association, you have the major oil marketers, you have the Independent Marketers Association, you also have the transport owners who transport the fuel. So all of those associations, anytime you're dealing with an association, they should have some kind of a self-regulating or self-monitoring procedure to ensure, like you said, the ethics stay on the high for the business. Because ultimately, when you have those sharp practices, it actually ruins the reputation of the association, and these kind of things can happen. And I think the government can also wave the big stick to say, if you don't get your act together, we have the power to actually say, okay, we're not going to allow you to do business anymore. So there needs to be a meeting of the minds. Government can say that, to say, get your house in order, otherwise you're not going to do business with us anymore. And then, you know, the association itself, they have a lot of responsibility to ensure that they remove the bad eggs, so to say, in their membership. So those things can be done. Is there a will to do that? That's the question.
Answers. But there's been the talk of autonomy when it comes to the oil and gas sector, and various critics, even some Nigerians have talked about the fact that Dangote Refinery might just be coming in as to gain this kind of autonomy in that sector, especially because there's been some suspension first over the Naira payment. Now there's another suspension from Dangote over the fraud issue, right? How much control, does one private player already wield, which of course is Dangote? Do you think that this is healthy for a country over 200 million people, seeing that Dangote Refinery is already wielding this much control thus far?
So my take is this: is that NNPC is still the dominant player in the oil and gas sector. If you look at upstream, midstream, and downstream, NNPC wields a whole lot of power. NNPC is supposed to be a private company, limited liability company, but its shares are still controlled totally by the federal government. So the decisions that NNPC makes still has to be approved by the Federal Executive Council and by the substantive Minister of Petroleum, Federal Minister of Petroleum, which is the President of Nigeria. So NNPC is still being run as a government entity. And with that in mind, there cannot be efficiency at all. Let us also remember, Dangote Refinery is the largest one, say in Africa. There are many other refineries. There are modular refineries. There are other smaller refineries. BUA is also building its own refinery that should, come on stream in the next couple of years. And it's not just BUA. There's a report of another one that made the news some months ago. That's also going to be in the Southwest. So there are other refineries and there are players, who are coming into the sector. Autonomy, well, yes, there is some level of autonomy with all of those players, but there needs to be, and there still is, regulation by the NMDPRA that regulates the downstream sector. So yes, there is autonomy. Dangote is doing what it can to actually help Nigerians. Remember, he said that this is why he went into this. He didn't even have to go into this business. And one of the things he said is that if he knew that there would be this kind of a challenge, that he wouldn't even do it. One thing we must realize is that when you talk about energy, particularly crude oil, it is one of those things that actually creates all kinds of challenges and issues globally. People go to war because of crude oil. And the same kind of issues that we're experiencing here in Nigeria happens globally. I mean, there is, the issue of if you look at how OPEC came into being, it was because they were trying to break the cartel of all of the major oil companies that were controlling the oil and gas business globally, and to the extent they were so powerful to the extent that they determined, who was the head of government in many countries globally. So these kind of things happen when you talk about energy, because we all need energy. That's how we survive. That's how a country develops. So on the issue of the naira for crude, I guess it had expired. And if I was in Dangote's position as well, you cannot continue to rely on that. If you have a business that you built with $20 billion, you have to ensure that the input that you need to refine to ensure that continues to come. So you can't trust the Nigerian government based on our antecedents to continue to supply you with crude, because there's so much politics going on behind the scenes. So Dangote has resorted to buying crude oil primarily from the US. So that's the way business runs. We wish that Nigeria could continue to supply crude to Dangote so he can refine and sell crude to Nigeria at a cheaper rate. But that hasn't happened. It only happened for a short time. There's so much politics going on behind the scenes. And until we get to the point where there are many other players and Nigeria is not a mono economy anymore, then we'll continue to bear the brunt of all of these issues and challenges.
Much, Mr. Davidson, for joining us on the show. It was quite a delight to have you, on the conversation today.
That's right.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right, we'll head out now.
Of course.
Okay. These are the questions. These are the issues, the fraud going on. Certain things need to be put in place to ensure that Nigeria works, the oil and gas sector works. I feel like when we sort out most of the problem or most of the fraud that goes on in the oil and gas sector, we will have an economy that is stable. Of course. Because we have so much, but so little to show for how much we have.
Truly. And there are lots of comparisons anyways, from various other countries. Again, if you look at Nigeria, one of the sectors that we rely on so much for generation of revenue, both locally and internationally, is the oil sector, right? And just like you've mentioned, if we are able to do it right, then it becomes a lot more easier for us to even export our products out there, import these products as well into, because what we do most times is, the politics in the oil sector is really not making the sector so favorable for us. And I do hope that Nigerian government can do better, NNPCL as well too can do better, to ensure that the oil sector is a lot more better.
The average Nigerian on the street does not care about the politics that goes on in the oil and gas sector. All they want to know is, are the prices going to be fair enough? How's this scandal going to affect us? And I'm just hoping that because of this whole scandal and the halt of supply of these products to rogue marketers, we will not experience another scarcity. Because this whole thing just exposes the fact that the scarcity is man-made. It's nothing. It's not, a lot of people have said it. Analysts have come out to say it.
Yes.
You know, or some oil marketers have come out to say that this is an artificial scarcity. There is scarcity not because we do not have the material or we don't have the product. It's just because certain factors prevent this product from getting to us. If you ask me, I'm all for Dangote Refinery taking over the. I understand that there's the concern of monopolizing the market.
Yes.
But the truth is, if the market is monopolized and it is efficient, that's the most important thing. Efficiency. And if the government system continues to be inefficient, it will make room for more independent people or independent operators to take over the market.
And there are certain questions also that we need to ask, right? Dangote Refinery produces over 650,000 barrels per day, which is the largest in Africa. And the big question is, does the government, even the regulatory bodies, do they have what it takes, to monitor these operations objectively on a daily basis? Now, if they're able to give us that answer, then yes, we can work towards all of those particular situations. But again, these are still questions that are begging for answers. 650,000 barrels per day. It's no joke. It's no joke. And I think Nigeria needs to step up. One man has come in to do it, right? It means that the entire nation has got to step up.
It's possible.
It's very.
It's possible
how
to
many
get it
refineries
done.
we have in the country, Nigeria? We have Petrol Refinery, the Warri Refinery, the Kaduna Refinery, and I think about 2 more refineries in Nigeria. All of them put together
cannot
produce what one person, one refinery is producing. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done from the federal government if we still want to rely on oil as our major source of income in Nigeria.
I like it. If we still want to, because there have been talks about we need to diversify. The Nigerian government or the Nigerian system need to look at other things. There's agriculture, we have raw materials that we need to process. If we have decided that we want to be blind to all of the other things that we have, let's concentrate on fuel. At least let's be efficient.
Right.
If that's the only, because the truth is, if we put proper concentration on fuel and ensure that the system is transparent and efficient, we can still generate a lot of money for Nigeria. We can still depend on what we generate from fuel if the system is efficient and transparent enough.
Now, beyond depending on what we generate from PMS, I think it's also important that the federal government understands that there's a lot of evolution, right? It's not just all about the PMS, not just about the kerosene, or the diesel that comes out of these raw materials. There is more.
There is more.
I mean, they need to learn how they can utilize our natural resources and not just depend solely on PMS. There's a lot of work to be done.
A lot of work to be done. I think this brings us to the very end of the conversation for Rapid Dawn today. I enjoyed myself here. I enjoyed my time here on TV. And I'm hoping that you had a swell time hanging out with us on the Rapid Dawn right here on Rapid TV today. Remember, we are very active across social media platforms. This is a gospel that we preach every single time we're supposed to be out of the studio. On Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, which is now X, and on, what again? Instagram.
Yes.
Did I say Instagram? Did I say Facebook? Did I say TikTok?
TikTok.
I said all of that.
Yeah.
Anyways, we are active on all these platforms at Rapid TV. On YouTube at Official Rapid TV, you can rewatch all of the episodes that we've had here and relive the moment. Now on our website, The Big Story, you get to follow all of our conversations live from wherever you are in the world at www.rbnradiotv.com. I am Martha Alu. You can call me Martha.
And I am Victor. Okay, see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Correro, your front row seats to the most pressing issues from the corridors of power to the heart of our communities. We bring you unfiltered insight, fearless journalism, and the conversations that matter. My name is Natural Prince, and I invite you to this big conversation table as we analyze the top stories, ask the tough questions, and hold power to account. News that informs, analysis that empowers, debate that drives change. Correro, the big conversation, every weekday at 7 p.m. only on Rapid TV.
Meet the men and women shaping the future of Nigeria. Get to know your representatives at the National Assembly. From lawmaking to constituency projects, we'll take you behind the scenes and inside the chambers of the Nigerian National Assembly. Learn about the bills they are championing, the challenges they are facing, and the impacts they are making in their constituencies. We'll also bring you closer to the people they are serving and the stories that shape their work. Join us on NAS Watch every Friday on Rapid Television at 7 p.m. So get informed, get engaged, and get to know the leaders shaping Nigeria's future.
Nigeria's economy, the global markets, what does it all mean for you? From stock market insights to global financial news you need to know. From Wall Street to the main street and, of course, the marketplace.
Get the answers you need every week on Businessless with me, Faith Dafa Joseph, as I bring into focus the stories, strategies, and shifts shaping our economy. No angle is missed as I talk about the business, the people, patterns, and possibilities behind them. Welcome to the Business Lens.
Rapid TV, rooted in truth, driven by impact.
Hello viewers at home, this is the Almighty and I'm here at the Masterminds Maiden Edition and our audition today. This is the platform where we give young mind kids from the ages of 7 to 17 the platform to express their feeling and to showcase their talent.
My name is Uzo Emanuela Kinsiko,
Sadiq Labron Abu,
Jessica Prince. My name is Helen Whitley.
Sarah Angela Achalaga. My name is Golden Aisha.
Precious Odum. I'm Tarila. I am Paris Aban.
Just not Julie.
Let's go.
This was amazing.
it was splendid.
Mastermind.
Are you missing out on interviews, music, entertainment, thought-provoking discussions, and more? Don't sweat it, man. We've got you covered. No matter where you are, be part of the action 24/7, online and live.
Caesar Radio.
On Facebook, it's Rapid FM Umahia. On Instagram, it's official Rapid FM. And on X, it is Rapid FM 965. Tune in to Rapid 96.5 FM or listen to us live on our website at www.rapidfm965.com or radiogarden.com. Better yet, get our mobile app from the Google Play Store. Catch the pulse of the Southeast on Rapid 96.5 FM, the sound of your city.
Hey, Oyanam, all Caesar Radio.
Rapid TV.
Shall I say? Rapid TV. Thank you, Rapid TV. Please keep watching
Rapid TV. This is Rapid TV.
Rapid
TV.
Keep watching.
Keep it meltdown. Leave it like that.
Una hụzole ji ihe anọ nga awa ọjị nke anọ nga awa ọkwa Igbo a na-eti ọjị n'ọkwa ka ọkwa akwa ihe kwa akwa n'ala Igbo gosipụtara ihe ziri ezi so ana m asị dịka anyị tiri ọjị n'ọkwa na-amụ aka n'ọkwa ka ọ kwara anyị n'aha Jizọs asị m ọgịdịrị anyị mma na-eke ọgịdịrị anyị n'orie ọgịdịrị anyị n'afọ ọgịdịrị anyị na nkwọ atụ ha hụrụ taa ka ahụ ya echi ala ya gbara anyị ọhụụ anyị na-asị ka anyị karịa oji anyị leda anyị n'ọdụ n'aha Jizọs jila aka erie dịla aka erie ya gịnị mekwara anyị agaghị akarị oji anyị leda anyị n'ọdụ anyị si Chineke ekere eluigwe n'ụwa ihe ọma ya emewe ihe ọjọọ laa azụ onye kụwa onye kụwa onye ka ya kere ka ya aka anyị tọọ ji anyị atata ndụ na ahụike ụkwụ ọmụnụ jiri bịa n'ọfịs m taa dịka permanent secretary Minister of Information and Traditional Prime Minister isi ngwa Autonomous Community ana m asị nke eke ya mma kunu gị jiela n'aha Jizọs anyị tọọ ji anyị tata ndụ na ahụike ngwa bịa waa ya.
The sun rises, so do we rise from the east.
Tap, 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 Gwen, Gwen,
Eastern Circle.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Southeast. It is another beautiful morning to bring you up to speed with recent happenings from Southeastern Nigeria. I am Adeze Egwim, and as always, Michael is here with me so that we can do justice to the stories this morning. Good morning, Mr. Michael.
Good morning, Adeze. Okay, it's good that you at least acknowledge the fact that you've committed a crime and you're already apologizing.
Just do like this.
I'm calm.
Right,
that's one of the things that Onodogu is known for. We're not too quick to anger.
Please.
But it's okay.
Thank you.
Also, because every morning looking at your pretty face is even enough to calm the storm that is raging inside. But it's not that deep though.
No
Welcome to Eastern Circle. Good morning to you. And my name is Michael Odemle. Glad to be here. It's another beautiful day to bring you up to speed with activities from this part of the country. Welcome. And this morning, of course, we're going to be taking you around the activities in the Southeast, starting here in Abia State. It's something to be proud of. Definitely, it's another Igbo daughter representing and making us proud, and by extension, making Nigeria proud as well. Yeah, so an Abia-born has now gone to the US to represent Nigeria after winning the Abia Tech Star of the Year as well. So women in tech Yeah, this is not the first time we're hearing something like this. So it's beautiful. We'll get into that conversation shortly. And then again, we'll talk about, just like Adeza mentioned, doing justice to today's topic. Yeah, justice is another thing that is needed right now, as it's been reported that two sisters in Enugu State, not just that they are sisters, but they are also supposed to be law enforcement agents, but now they're involved in criminality. We'll get into that as it's been reported that these two sisters masterminded the kidnap of their own brother, biological, I must add. And as well, they went on to commit some other identified crimes. So we'll get into that as we question the trust that people are supposed to have in the law enforcement agencies that are supposed to actually mastermind their safety, if you get what I mean. But we'll get into these conversations when we return from the break, so don't touch it. We'll be back. Stay with us.
As the sun rises, so the river from the east.
Ta ta ta, Igbo kwenu. Kwenu. Kwenu.
Eastern Circle.
Welcome back, and if you're just joining us, you're still watching Eastern Circle on Rapid TV. And moving on to our first story this morning, the Executive Governor of Abia State, Dr. Alex Choma Oti, with members of the expanded Abia State Executive Council, received and celebrated the 2025 Abia Tech Girl Star, Miss Grace John Mpa, before she left for the United States. The governor thanked the star girl for putting Abia State on the global map in the 2025 Tech Girls competition, where she secured a spot out of the 3 statutory slots to 3 best in Nigeria. In this prestigious Tech Girls International Exchange Program, a global initiative for the manpower development of the girl child, sponsored by the United States Department of the State for Education and Culture. The governor encouraged Ms. Grace to remain a good ambassador of the state, even during the 3-month intensive hands-on tech workshop, mentorship and leadership training at the Virginia Tech University, United States of America, urging her to come back to Abia at the end of